Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing this cute little journal page, and this one's a little different. It's got a hidden journaling area, or you could put pictures in there, whatever you want. So it's basically done in a way so that it's camouflaged from you noticing that there is an actual door. And we have two doors in here, and this one I used on the sentiment, and we just put a little area here for what I like to do is put my journaling in here. These are great for a daily diary type of thing, and if you want to show how you do your pages painting wise, but you don't want to show your private information, then this is a great way of covering up, and you still have a book to show. So get your paints, paper, stencils, some kind of see-through imagery. You could use collage too. It's up to you. There's many ways of going about this. So get your stuff ready, and we'll see you in a bit. Welcome to this month's members stream, and today we're going to be doing some stencil work for backgrounds. So you can do a whole bunch of these for later use, or you make them as you go. I like using different papers, usually some tissue paper, or if you have like the Tim Holtz stuff, there's all those, what do you call them, from Stamperia, all of the rice papers. You could use collage, you can use photos, something off of your computer printed out. You can also use some of your own jelly prints. There's many different types of collage that you can use in this. You can also use some napkins. So I'm going to use a little of a mix here. And what I like to do is I'll pick out a napkin or a photo that I have, and I'll pick the colors that are in that one piece, so that keeps the whole thing cohesive. So if you've got a favorite napkin or a piece of rice paper, jelly print, that type of thing, that you really like the color combinations in it, get it out and we'll play with it. And just find a bunch of paper. You could do fabric even, whatever you want to do. And get a whole bunch of it out so you can pick and choose as you go. This is kind of intuitive when I do mine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on a piece of mixed media multi surface. This is it's not heavy, but I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this one on a journal page. So I don't want too heavy. So I wouldn't go into, say, a watercolor paper. I want to be able to fold it fairly easy and not have it to be too thick, because we're going to be gluing it on to another piece of paper. So I've cut out a piece out of this book. And this is what we're going to do our collage on. And the way I start is I'll take either paint, or I'll start off with the collage. Each one you do will be different, so you kind of have to play with them a bit to see what technique you like the best. And now I also want you to get out is a bunch of stencils. Now when you're selecting stencils, if you have a theme in mind already, then you can pick out things that go with that theme, like say botanical or under the sea or abstract, that type of thing. So I have a few stencils out here. And what I like to do when I have my stencil selection is I'll pick up small, medium, and large openings. So the openings on the stencil. So this would be small, and you could say that's small also. And get masks too. So you want the positive and the negative. So that's a positive and negative stencil. And this is what I would probably call medium to large. This would be a medium. This is a small. I always like to put a little bit of text in my work. There's these script, Oriental writing. I also like to vary the design. So if I have too many circles, more organic looking, I might throw in maybe some line work or something like that. So vary it up in the size and the texture. We won't use all of these, but it gives us a little bit of choice as we go, because not always what you're thinking of the end result will turn out. You'll change your mind many times in the process. So because I like these colors, so it's kind of winter but still fall, which we are in November here. And I think I really like these because it has the white background, so you can really play with these. So what I want to do is I want to pick out some of the blues, greens, and this sienna color. And I'm going to stick with just those colors. Now, as you can see, you can vary the hue, the saturation, with just 3 colors will make it look interesting. So you don't have to have a whole mass of color. Now, if you like really bright colors, go for bright colors. This is what I'm going to use right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my paint, and I'm just going to use craft paint. You can use whatever you have. So pick what colors you want and select the base color. So I would get, say, a medium green or a dark green, and I can always lighten it with a bit of yellow or white. Also with the blue, this is more on the cerulean side, but I could add a little green to it to give it a little bit more of a turquoisey color. Same with the sienna color. I can add a little bit of green to it and it'll change it again. So we're going to mix our colors to vary the different looks on our pages. So get your paints out and we'll be right back. Okay, so I have my colors selected here. So I have a buttercream. This is a light cinnamon, so it'll represent raw sienna. And I have a cadmium yellow because I wanted to mix the greens to be different. I'm not going to use yellow, but I'll mix it with the green to give it a different color. And I have Heartland Blue, which will be this kind of cerulean blue but grayish tone to it. And I have Plantation Pine, which will be my green, and I can lighten it with the buttercream. So I have all those. And I showed you my stencils, so I have stencils out. I'm just going to put those to the side here. So, if we wanted to get started here, I like this. So I could take, and I like to rip mine. I don't like to cut it because it looks nicer. And don't make all your pieces the same size. Have some big pieces and some small pieces. What I'm going to be using is matte medium. I have some paper towels ready. You don't want a lot of water in your brush when you use the matte medium. If you have gel medium, that's even better. I prefer gel matte than gel gloss, just because it won't stick to other pages when you're done. So what I like to do with these is I'll put some on the back, a good amount, and then I also put it on the paper, and this way you're for sure to have a good adherence. And then you just layer down. So I think I'll put mine like on here. You don't have to worry about going to the edge if you don't want to, because we'll be putting lots of layers on these. And then I like to put a coat over top, because this is just newsprint. So if I were to paint on this and then decided I didn't like what I put on there, I could wipe it off. I might take a smaller piece and maybe just, let's see, could put it like that. Oh, I think I'll do that. So again, on the back, put it on here. You kind of like to have a couple pieces of the same paper on your, just don't put one of each on, because then it looks too busy, and your eye can't rest anywhere because it can't associate. Your mind, when you're looking at art, associates with different objects, colors, and form. So we'll go around the page looking for those things, and if there's just one of each, it doesn't know where to look next. So that's why I like to put a few pieces in. So now let's see, what other colors? All right, so I have it nice and dry. And now I'm going to be putting some stencils on here. Now what I like to do, I'm just going to put this to the side here, get another palette. I like to use these. I do have a wet palette, but I like, when I'm doing this type of work, stenciling, I like to use these. They're just a little easier. So now I want to find some colors out of these. Now there's just this and the cream, but this has the kind of raw sienna in there, and there's some kind of a citron green and a little bit of that plantation green in there. So there's two ways of using your stencils. Well, there's many ways, but for this particular part, what we can do, let's move some of this stuff, is I'm going to take some of this green here probably the plantation green. I think I might lighten it a little bit with yellow. So I want to kind of get this color here. So you're kind of matching the colors that are in your papers. So whatever you're using, if you're already putting down, say, some rice paper pattern of some sort, you may want to find the color that you like out of that and make some up. So it's kind of it's a fairly bright green. So let's see, you can pat it off the side too. Yeah, that's not bad. And what I'm going to do, I'll take, you can either see what patterns are in there. If it's very small, maybe you want to put a bigger pattern, maybe you want smaller. I'm going to use this floral pattern here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off the paper here. And you can add different hues of the paint too. So you can make it two-toned. So this way it's incorporating this paper because of you're using the same color out of this paper into the stencil. So you want to do that with a few of these areas. Just don't do one spot. Like that. Maybe across here. I'm going to go a little bit darker. Don't have to do the whole stencil either. A lot of times it looks nice if you don't. See, there's a bit of that raw sienna color. So I'll take some of that, put it on my palette. Now I don't want you to cover all the white up either. I'm going to get another sponge. Don't think I have another one in there. Okay, so let's take this cinnamon color. Yeah, that should be pretty good if I add a little bit of yellow to it. Let's see what we get. That's a little lighter. That's nice. And then let's pick another stencil. So let's see. See, we gotta have long dots on that one. So maybe we want to do something bigger. Possibly this one. So we could go, don't have to do the whole stencil, remember. Just do parts of it. So I'm just going to do the top half here. Like that. And maybe this bottom part here. Don't have too much on your sponge either, because it'll go underneath the stencil. That. Maybe just a sprig of it in here. that. Now we can do the blue. Now because the blue's got quite a bigger area, what we can do, I'm going to get another palette because that's taking up quite a bit on my plate. These are great to have as palettes. I'll shake this up, and I'm going to have to make this blue color, so I'm going to probably have to put some of that, what is it, buttercream in it, just to lighten it. So we'll put some of that out. Well, let's make the color first. So I'm going to add blue, and I'm going to add white to it. See what color we get. Probably have to add quite a bit of what buttercream to it. That's not bad. It's pretty close. Okay. And then I'm just going to take my sponge, and I'm going to more or less paint with my sponge. And I'm going to go right into the top part here. You don't want any rough edges. You could always use a brush and wash it out a bit. And then what you can do is take your stencil and a baby wipe. You have to do this fairly quick. Can't let it dry. And remove some of that blue. Now because we have matte medium on there, it's not going to tear the paper. So that's why it's important to use your mediums when you glue your things on. Okay, so then just lift, and then we have your pattern going into that. So you can, if you want it more subtle around the edges, just take your baby wipe. Now I've rubbed some of that. It wasn't dry, but that's okay. If you like the rough look. And then it's incorporated into this and down here. So then we can take, let's dry it, and then we'll take some more probably paper, like napkins, or if you have the rice papers, we'll use some of those. It's nice when you have some of these rice papers that have the white backgrounds are nice, because then your background shows through as well as the patterns. So we can take some of this, or maybe even this. Let's take this apart. Your napkins usually have 3 or sometimes 2 layers. You want to take those layers apart. Let's use a, it's easier if you have a piece of tape to separate them instead of driving yourself crazy. So I just put one on the back and one on the front. And that takes it off. So you could spend hours taking the darn things apart. Okay, so there's your, well, these are nice because they're kind of random looking, so you could put them in all different areas. And to separate these, just take a brush, usually a round of some sort, wet it, and decide where you want some of this. Let's see, maybe this across the top would be pretty. So I'm gonna take this here and I just go around the area that I want with the wet brush. Make sure it's wet enough. And then just tear it along that line. And you'll get a nice piece. So let's put this one on the top, kind of, or let's see, maybe we want it like that. Like that, maybe. Yeah, and you want to use matte medium again. And this time, you can't put it on the napkin because it'll just disintegrate. So take as much water out of your brush, some more matte medium, and put it down on the area that you want to lay it down. So I want it across here. You want a fair amount. And then lay it down as close to the area as you want. And then from the center, stroke outwards. I usually start at the center, that way you get all the wrinkles out. If there are a few, I'm not too worried about it. It's just another texture, basically, for me. But if you want to be more precise, that's, you know, do your thing. Okay, so see how lovely that goes right through, but it still shows your paper through. I think I'm going to put, let's see, maybe some of these in here too. I could take just sprigs. And I'm going to get a little bit of that green again that I made up. And if it's a little off, just you fix it. I'm going right over top of this area. If you want, you could wipe some of that off. Just play with it. Go around some of the areas that you've already put in if you don't want to cover them up. Take a little water. Oh, that wasn't dry yet. You gotta watch that. And just help that merge. And then let's see, what could we do? Let's take this. Let's see what this would do. So we could put it down on here. Take our rag again. This might, you have to go in the direction of the pattern of the stencil with some of them, because this one's pretty delicate, so you don't want it to move. Let's see what we get. Sometimes it doesn't work. No, it's not bad. Okay. Then I could also take this and go up here and take some of that paint on my baby white and just go over the white areas here, and it'll give you a different effect. You'll get positive and negative on there. Let's put some of it in here maybe. Might look kind of cool. Let's use our sponge this time. And I'm just gonna do the border. We can always go back over stuff. That looks cool. Got quite a bit of green going on, but I love that. I think let's put a little blue in here. I'm going to get my blue sponge and just go over some of this. Okay, so that came up. That's fine. I'll just tap it down a little bit. But I can still see some of these leaves and stuff, so that's good. Let's put in a few more of these. So I see this here, and this kind of sits by itself. There's quite a bit of white in here, but there's not much white in here. So I think what I'm going to do is might take a little bit of white. I don't want it white white. Well, I could do it white white. It's a little bit on the cream side there, but you don't have to get too technical as far as color. But it would kind of look nice if you had a little bit more of this white up here. So how are we gonna, do we add more of these shapes? We do still have them in the brown. Or do we add something different again? So this is when I like to add a little bit of text. So we can either do a small text, but I think we have enough small pattern in here, maybe a larger, and we could put it right in there in white. Now you could put the whole thing if you want, or just this part, or you could put this one. I think I like this one. So I'm going to get some white out. Hopefully it goes on okay. And I want a clean sponge because I want it to be crisp. Pat off the side so you don't want too much on your, let's see, so maybe right here. Okay. Now we can always dull that down if we wanted to. Let's put a little bit of cream. I think it's too bright. So I'm going to put a little cream with that. Go back over it. Actually, I should dry it first. Alright. Like so. Just to bring that brightness down a little bit. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, so I got some there, and I could put, just looking at my painting, maybe some dots. So I have some random dots here. This is a stencil gifted to me from Sandra, and it's not got a name on it. Dots are always good. Can't go wrong with dots. So a little bit of dottage, and I'm going to bring it from this white, I'm going to bring it into that blue. Just a few. Like that. And let's put a few up here. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just a few. Like that. Okay. Now, do we use the chicken? I have 4 of them. Could put it right here. Let's wet it around the chicken so we can get a finer. So I don't want a whole lot of this dark area on my paper. Let's see what we get. There we go. So now we can audition this guy. And he could go right there or up further. Like that. Could, well, he's kind of nice right there. We could have this that's kind of cool too, keeping the feet aligned. Yeah, let's put them there. I like them there. Some more. And he was like that. And sweep it out. We can always emphasize parts of them if it's too dark, but I think he kind of fits in here. Okay, so let's dry that. All right. Now, we can take a look at it. Some people want to stop at this point, but you can still continue. I know it's hard, but you can get your Poscas out and start doing some Posca work. And that really adds to things. You could also, if you don't like certain areas, you could white it out. Just take a color that's around it. Use that color to white out areas you don't like. So let's say I want to ground this chicken a little bit. So I could actually take the blue a little darker and just put it like that. Just to show. You can put it out like this. You can go right over top of that if you want. What I like to do is either outline parts of the stencil, or you can actually add more stencil work, but just using your outlines with your pen or your colored pencil. So we could just outline I'm just going to go over the blue, and I'm just going to do the now, because there's black in there, I'm going to take this stencil, put it back in place. Okay, I'm going to go around the edge of this. Do I want to shadow it? No, I'll just go around the edge. This is I believe this is Strathmore. I believe. Yeah, this is a Strathmore book. It's upside down. Good thing I looked. It's a Strathmore mixed media, and it's a fairly heavy-duty page. And what I'm going to do, this will fit on here. I'd have to cut one side down a little bit, but not a whole lot. We're going to make this a hidden journaling spot. So the way you can do that is what we're going to do is you can either cut out a random area that flips open, or you can just cut a square. And I really like doing this because then you can have a little area. You could do a few squares if you wanted to too. Like we could do one here and one here, and they open different ways. Or one opens there and one opens that way. It doesn't matter which way you do it. And sometimes it's nice to have an area. You want to do a journal page, but you want to write about it. And you don't want people seeing everything that you write. So this way you can have kind of a little hidden area. So if you take a metal ruler, it's best. I have a or an L square. And I think I'm going to have the chicken. Now you want to leave about approximately an inch on the edge of the page. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this off just so that it fits on my page a little better. Now I'm going to cut out the chicken, I believe. And I want it squared. Let's see. Now don't think of taking it off where the bottom of the feet are. You want it so that it's kind of disguised. And in order to do that, you kind of want to show that, well, the chicken has feet, so you know there's going to be feet. Maybe part of the tail is on the other side. So, and I'm going to take it 4 inches. And it's going to open this way. So bring it 4 inches again. Here. And then you flip it. And make sure it's squared again. Oh, 4 inches was there. Sure. There. And to 4 inches again. You can do whatever size you want. So just cut the 3 sides. And there's what I will have. And then I think I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to keep it like that. And this one is going to open from this side that way. So I want, can't be 4 inches. This one's going to be 3 inches. Yeah. Three inches by, we'll do 4 inches. Turn it around. Three inches. Right there by 4 inches. Okay. Get the corner. It's right there. Okay. Now before we put it on, these flaps, now I just used an older piece of paper, so it's got some marks on it. We can paint those before we add it to this. So just paint it whatever color. I'm just going to use whatever I have left over here. And it could be used as a place to put a photo. All kinds of things. You could write on it with white pen depending on the color you're using. careful you don't smush it into the other side. You could do this before you cut. Might be the smarter thing to do. And then just to dry it. So let's put this on our page. So we want to take our matte medium again. And we want to do all the areas except those two doors. Alright, so there is, I just put this little sentiment on here. And you can find tags, or if you want to put a flower. So you just paste it half on the door and don't put it on the bottom. That way you can open it. So you can put some lines in here, you can write in there, you could put a picture in there, you could write on both sides, whatever you want, but it's a hidden little spot. You could actually too, if you don't want to put a sentiment, if you're going to use it, say like for your daily journaling or a diary, but you wanted it hidden, you could actually put a nice big number here, like the first Saturday, the 1st or whatever, and then you just open it and you can read what happened on that day, and just do a picture of something, draw something up, paint something, and do the same thing, but you actually have the date on both doors. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll give it a try, and I'd love to see what you come up with, because there's many ways of playing with this. So have fun with it, and till next time, we'll see you later. Bye for now.